Hello and welcome to the channel. We'll talk about all things card games and chill with friends. My name's Liam and today I want to take you through my Miko Bijou deck profile. Now if you are new to the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button, and if you enjoy what we do here, please let me know by hitting that like button. Check out my other socials, links in the description, and consider joining and becoming a member by hitting that join button down below. But let's jump straight in. So at the end of this week, as of recording, the Curious Universe 4th set for Hololive OCG comes out in Japan on Friday, the 20th of June. And with set 4, we get a load of new fantastic holomems to the game. And the first one that I wanted to do a deck profile for was actually making a slight change to a deck profile I've already covered before, covering Miko. But this time, instead of going down the fan route, I wanted to utilize Kozeki Bijou. Now, I will admit the deck is not the best. It's fine. It's a fun deck to play. It's quite aggressive, but it is not a tier 1 deck. It is not a deck that's going to shape the meta. But if you love Bijou, this is an incredible deck to try out, and I wanted to make sure I shared it with you guys. Now, apologies. I'm going to stop you for 1 second before we jump into this video. I do want to say a massive thank you for getting the channel to 2,000 subscribers. I genuinely cannot believe it. Thank you so much. I was getting a little worried that we weren't going to get there before the English release next month, but with just under a month to go, out of nowhere, the channel has blown up. Like, we've gained over 200 subscribers in the last few weeks. It's been absolutely wild. And yeah, I thank you so much. I will do a bit more of a special video to celebrate 2,000 subscribers, maybe doing a thing where, you know, I do a little cut of old videos and chuck them in. I don't know, I'll see how I feel and see what I do with it. Or if you've got any ideas, let me know in the comments below, and if you get them in time, I may do something with that. I know some people have asked to do like an AMA, ask me anything. I've had some people say that they want to see some of my personal collection in terms of cards. Some have asked me to do a maid outfit stream. Why? Why? I can't afford a maid outfit. If you want to get me one, as long as it fits me, I'll commit. Again, a massive thank you for getting the channel to hit this milestone. And here's to the next 100,000. Who knows where this is going to go. But thank you for supporting my hobby. Thank you for supporting my project, my dream, my community. I genuinely love what I do, and I am so blessed that I can share this with you and share this with the community. So I look forward to what the future brings. And yeah, I hope you're ready for the ride. With all that soppy stuff out of the way, let's get into this deck profile. Of course, starting with our Oshi, we run the Sakura Miko Oshi with 2 skills. The Oshi skill, which is for 2 holo power, allows you to roll a die. If you roll a 2, 4, or 6, or 1, you get to return 1 Miko P fan from your archive back to your hand. And if the result is 3 or 5, you get to return up to 2 Miko Ps. So this is really cool because it gives you access to your archive when your Miko Ps do eventually go there. And it ensures that you are able to consistently do damage output and a high damage output with your second bloom Sakura Miko, as well as being able to not have to worry about cheer, because you'll find out later this deck doesn't run any cheer ramp, because honestly it doesn't really need to, because the Miko P exists. The SP Oshi skill is once per game. If your center holomem is red, you may choose any number of cards from your hand, place them on the bottom of your deck in any order, and then draw from your deck until you have 5 cards in your hand. Now, beforehand, when I was using this Oshi, I didn't really care what my center was because I was running an all red holomem lineup. Now in this deck, you have to be a little careful because you are running Bijou, which is a purple holomem. So you have to be wary of when you are going to use this SP Oshi skill, and the timing of when you decide to use it is, you've just got to be that little bit extra mindful of when you decide to use it, because there are other cards that rely on using the SP skill to get a bit of extra bonus. And also there might be times in this deck where you might have a hand of 5, 6, 7 cards and decide to actually use the SP Oshi skill because one, your hand's breaking a little bit, or secondly, you've got some cards in your hand that you just want to get back into your deck for other effects. So I think it's a really, really strong Oshi for this deck. And again, because we're running Miko, you can absolutely run the Oshi with it. It's got 5 life. And then finally, we go into the cheers of this deck. You run 12 red and 8 purple. You want to prioritize seeing your reds because you are running predominantly Mikos. And your Kozeki Bijous are basically a addition to what you've got there. So yeah, I think that's a reasonable cheer split. You could go 13-7, sorry, with 13 red, 7 purple. You could even go 14 red, 6 purple, because Kozeki Bijou does really well when there's reds in your archive, or you need to have a red on your stage to get rid of. So we'll come to those cards in a moment. But I've gone with 12-8 for now. But let me know in the comments, do you think you would change the cheer ratio for this deck? Moving on to our main deck, we run a Miko line. We run 4 of the unlimited debuts. We run 3 of the collab debuts, 2 of the idol Miko, 4 of the bloom effect Miko, and 4 second Miko. So a bit about this, and I was contemplating playing around with the Holomem lineup for Miko. I think this is the best way of doing it, purely because whilst the debut Miko is really, really good early game, late game, she's a bit awkward with the collab effect. But I don't think you want to run 4 of her, purely because the unlimited debut Miko has the extra 20 HP and 30 damage for only 1 cheer, rather than having to try and get 2 cheers on a debut. So that's the risk of the collab debut, and that's why I run it only to 3 of, because you are predominantly using it for that early game collab effect rather than using its attack. If you are going to be using any arts of the Miko, you are going to be using your unlimited debut mostly. So I think that the 4-3 split here is about right. The first bloom idol Miko is in there just to ensure you've got a few extra firsts in order to get your Sakura Miko second out on the stage as quickly as possible. And you could have used the swimsuit outfit Miko. I personally prefer this purely because whilst it has got the same HP as the other first bloom in this deck, the second art of this for guaranteed 50 damage plus an additional 20 somewhere is just really nice in my opinion. It allows you to be more aggressive, where I think in this deck you are having more benefit if you are more aggressive, especially early game. So I have chosen to go with the idol outfit Miko, but I could see people changing that to the swimsuit. It's a bit of personal preference, I guess, in this one. But of course, we do run 4 of the bloom effect Miko, extremely good, and it's a must include 4 of in this deck, where basically on bloom you get to search your deck for a Miko P fan, and also it's a 30 base damage art, which gains an additional 30 damage if you have a Miko P attached to it, which 9 times out of 10 you will. So this is doing 60 damage in most cases. So this card basically allows you to get the consistency of getting the Miko P fan to your hand as quickly as possible, as well as a decent damage output in its art. And finally, we've got the Sakura Miko second, which has the gift effect. If this is in your center position during your main step, if this Holomem has any Miko P attached to it, which again, 9 times out of 10 it will, you get to roll a die, and if you happen to roll a 3 or a 5, you get an additional plus 50 power to this Holomem's art. So you're doing from what originally is base 120. If you do roll a 3 or 5, it's now base 170. And then the art itself for 3 cheer is for each Miko P attached to this Holomem, this art gains an additional 20 power. So if you've got 1 or 2 or 1 Holomem on it, it's doing an additional 20. If you've got 2 Miko Ps attached to it, you'll be doing an extra 40 damage. So realistically, you're doing anywhere between 140 and maths is hard, 210 with this Holomem. So it's got a really good damage range. If you absolutely need to attach a third Miko P to it to reach that 230 mark, you can. And not only that as well, it has got the advantage to green as well, which we are seeing some green decks do quite well in the Japanese meta right now. Looking at Rainier, and I think we're going to see some surprise come up with more Iofi stuff coming in. You've also got access to, with the 4th set's bringing out a new Mio second bloom, which is quite good. So being able to deal with that is quite handy. So there are definitely a few decks where the advantage to green does help. But But this, you know, the advantage of this as well, it's, you know, it's a second bloom with only one retreat cost, or one cost for battle pass. And another thing to note with the first blooms, they are all 0 cost battle pass. So you can switch those back easily, still not lose your cheers, and you can cycle them for your Bijou effects, which we'll come to in a moment, by getting rid of those cheers in other ways, in a more efficient ways, and ways that help you out throughout your game more than just having to pay one to retreat. Moving on to the Kozaki Bijou lines, we have 5 copies of the Debut Unlimited. We have 4 copies of the Bloom Effect Bijou first, and we also have 3 copies of the second Bloom Bijou. This is it for the Bijou line. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. We've only got 5 cards, I think, in set 4. So there aren't many cards to play around with. There is another first Bloom Bijou, which has a slightly more health. But I genuinely think that the Bloom Effect of the first Bijou is more beneficial where you are running a high red cheer count. So first of all, going with the Debut, you run 5 copies of that, and it's got the gift effect of if this Hollow Member is down during your opponent's turn, you get to draw a card. So if they do happen to take out your Bijou, that's fine. You get to draw a card and you get the cheer from your life. It's kind of fine, to be honest. And then it's just got a base 20 power art for a colorless cheer, which is kind of good. It means that if you do have to commit a red to the Bijou, it's fine. The first Bloom Bijou is on Bloom. You may discard or get rid of a red cheer from your stage and archive it. And if you do, draw 2 cards. It's a nice bit of draw power, and when you can overplay with like getting loads of red cheer out, it's kind of nice. Potentially, if you wanted to optimize this a bit more, you could run some form of card that allows you to ramp your red cheers. I'm not sure what that card would be. If you know what that card would be, let me know in the comments below. But not only that as well, for 1 purple cheer, an aura miner for 30 damage plus, and if you have a red cheer in your archive, this does an additional 20 power. So not only are you getting rid of a red cheer to, you know, draw 2 cards, you're also giving the Bijou an extra 20 power, making it 50 power on its arts, which is kind of guaranteed if you want to use it. So you can maximize the use of the Bijou quite nicely. And at 130 HP, it's fine. It's fine. I wish it had maybe 10 or 20 more HP, but beggars can't be choosers. So that's the first Bloom that we run in this deck. And finally, the second Bloom Kozaki Bijou has the Bloom Effect Jewel of Emotion, which when you bloom with this card, you may discard your entire hand, and if you do, draw back up to the same number of cards in your hand that you had before. So if you discard 5 cards, you draw 5 cards. If you discard 3, you draw 3. So it's a bit of a hand refresh, which is kind of nice. There are times where that is quite useful, and it's also sometimes filling your archive with certain cards can be beneficial. This card would also be really good in the likes of a Louis deck potentially, where getting cards to archive is really, really important. Not Louis, Kiara. I meant Kiara. So Kozaki Bijou could be quite useful with that sort of lineup in EN. And then her art for 1 purple, 1 colorless is 80 plus with a 50 advantage to green again. And then basically for every cheer in your opponent's archive, this art does an additional 10 damage. So if you have a way of, you know, consistently being able to take down holomems on your opponent's side of the stage, and, you know, you can constantly whistle off 1 cheer, 2 cheer, 3 cheer, you can get your opponent with maybe 5 or 6 cheers in their archive. You're doing a consistent 100 to 150 damage with the second Bijou. It's a fantastic secondary attacker. I wouldn't class this as the main attacker in this deck. I definitely think that belongs with Miko. But as a supporting attacker, I think this card is really, really nice, and it feeds off the red synergy quite well, in my opinion. Finally, the last Holomem we run 1 copy of the Le Plus Darkness from the start deck, which has 1 art, and that is for 30 plus for any cheer, for 1 of any cheer. And this says, if this is in your collab position, if you have used your SP Oshi skill during this main phase, this art does an additional 50 damage. Now, I think this is really, really good for multiple reasons. So first of all, with Sakura Miku's SP Oshi skill, you are likely to use it much sooner than you think. You're probably going to be using that SP Oshi skill anywhere between turn 3 and turn 5. So you are going to be using it quite early. And if you do happen to get your Laplace Darkness into the collab position and be able to attack with it, for a debut Holomem, you're doing 80 damage. That can take down some debuts in just one hit. It does a significant amount of damage to first blooms and second blooms, of course. And yeah, it's a very niche card. It's not a card that you always need to see, but it is a really nice option whereby if you do want to just for one cheer do 80 damage without having to worry about blooming or anything like that, the card's pretty good. And like I said, it's more of a tech card. It's not a card that you expect to see every game, but those games that you do see it, it does become very useful. With that, we have 30 Holomems, which is 13 debuts, 10 firsts, and 7 seconds. No spots, of course, because spots are bad. At least now, anyway. Moving on to our supports, we run 4 copies of Nodaka, of course, to draw 3 cards. We run 2 copies of Mane-chan to shuffle and draw back 5. We run 4 copies of Ordinary PC, being able to search for your debuts as you need them and get them onto your backstage. We run 2 copies of the new 2-tone PC, which when you play this card, you must have 2 Holomems with different colors on your stage. And then when you play this card, you choose 2 single colored Holomems with different colors, which are first, but then reveal 1 first bloom for each color that you have, basically, and add them to your hands. So, for example, in this deck, we've got red and purple. You play this card, you get to get 2 first blooms, 1 purple, 1 red. So it's a +1 guaranteed, and it also means that you are basically increasing the consistency of enabling yourself to get through your bloom chain, which is really, really nice. This card is a fantastic card. We are going to see it in a lot of decks, especially those that run 2 colors or more potentially. It is just a really, really solid card. Into more staples, we run 1 copy of Soyoda Enemy. It's a fantastic one just to switch your opponent's center Holomem with one of their back Holomems. Allows for some real disruption, which is really great. We run 3 copies of Miko 24, which of course, again, more draw power, more consistency of finding your debuts, just a rather good card, as long as you don't keep rolling 1s. I keep rolling 1s. And finally, we run 4 copies of the Miko P fan, where again, it is treated as a red cheer for the Holomem where this is attached to their arts. When it is down though, your opponent does get to draw a card from their deck, and of course it can only be attached to Sakura Miko. This card is a must include in this deck, especially because you're running the Oshi. It's a no-brainer to run this card, and again, this is basically your pseudo cheer ramp in the deck without having actual cheer ramp in your deck. With that, that's 20 supports, 12 limited and 8 non-limited cards, and that is the deck. There will be a gameplay video coming out later on this week showing off the deck. Well, at least trying to. I tried playing the deck. I didn't do very well. But it gives you an idea of what the deck's meant to do. But overall, it is a really fun deck to play. If you are an aggressive player, you like playing your aggro decks, this is a really cool deck to play. If you enjoy playing the Miko fan build or the Polka fan build, you will love playing this deck. I think it's really, really fun. And, you know, it's nice to see that Bijou fits into a deck with a decent amount of consistency and decent power levels as well. Because I know Bijou is a lot of people's favorite Holomem at the moment from Advent. So, yeah, I think it's really, really cool to see the boulder in action, the gem in action. And, yeah, I hope you enjoyed this deck profile. Let me know if you try it out. I'll also put a link to a deck log in the description below if you want to see it in deck log. But apart from that, that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Again, if you are new here, please consider hitting that subscribe button. And if you enjoyed this video, please let me know by hitting that like button. Check out my other socials, those links in the description. And again, if you want to support the channel, please consider doing so by joining and becoming a member, hitting that join button down below. And again, thank you so much for 2,000 subscribers. It's wild. It's amazing. Thank you so much. But apart from that, thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.